What's up everyone, Chad from the Snow Phoenix here. My last playthrough, Pokemon Gold with only Espeon and Umbreon, was really fun. I liked having more than one Pokemon on the team as I did in the Absol run, so I thought I'd take it a bit of a step further and do my first Nuzlocke. So today we're going to find out, can I beat a Pokemon Fire Red Nuzlocke with only Poison type Pokemon? For those that aren't familiar with Nuzlocke rules, the main ones are, if a Pokemon faints, it is considered dead and can no longer be used. You can only catch the first eligible encounter on each route, and all Pokemon must be nicknamed. We've got a bit of a naming theme going on here, so let me know when you guess what it is. I also play this Nuzlocke semi-hardcore in regards to over-leveling and no items in battle, but it's not extremely strict on that, and I don't play on set mode, so this definitely wouldn't be classed as a hardcore Nuzlocke. Poison type is actually pretty diverse in this game. Most of our encounters are dual type, which is a major reason behind picking this run, and we also get one straight away in our starter. Overall, some pretty solid encounters, and with being available on multiple routes, all of them are available to us, which is nice. We begin by picking our starter, Bulbasaur, and I name it Naraku. Our rival immediately challenges us. It's a pretty standard back and forth, as most of these initial rival fights are, and we manage to take down his Charmander in a close one. We make our way into Viridian Forest for our first encounter, which ends up being a Weedle that I name Gloxinia. Once in Pewter City, I head straight to the first gym to challenge Brock. I'm fairly confident, and actually, looking back, didn't even bother healing up to full HP before the battle, but it goes about as smoothly as you'd expect, with Naraku easily taking out both members of his team with Vine Whip. That's our first badge acquired. Time to head east and get our next couple of encounters. On the route east of Pewter, I managed to catch a male Nidoran that I named Sashomaru, and in Mount Moon we get a Zubat that I named Sussery. Whilst making our way through Mount Moon, Gloxinia evolves into Beedrill and Sashomaru evolves into Nidorino. Just outside of Cerulean, we catch an Ekans named Mustard. I did unfortunately run into a level 10 straight after this, but at least it's got Intimidate, so the extra 4 levels grind shouldn't be too bad. I also decided to evolve Sashomaru into a Nidoking with one of the Moonstones that we picked up going through Mount Moon. There isn't a ridiculous amount of difference in their moveset, and it's pretty good to have such a big powerhouse on the team so early in the game. It's now time to take on Cure. The fight isn't too exciting, with Sashomaru taking care of most of his team, and Sussery chipping in against Abra that doesn't fight back to get some free XP. Further north, I catch an Oddish and name it Roundup. Now we have a full team of 6 to challenge the second gym with. Misty is another pretty simple takedown for Naraku. Staryu hardly causes us any issues, and despite getting some hits in, a combination of Leech Seed and Vine Whip is more than enough to win us our second badge. After clearing out the SSN, it's time for another rematch with Cure. He leads Pidgeotto and I counter with Sussery. A fair bit of back and forth, but we prove to be the superior flying type, so we take it down. I switch to Sashomaru to counter his newly evolved Kadabra. We one-shot it, along with Raticate and Charmeleon. After getting cut as our reward for rubbing an old man's back, we're finally able to take on our next gym. It's a pretty easy sweep for Sashomaru, one-shotting his entire team with Dig to claim our third badge. In the Pokemon Tower, we catch a Ghastly, which I name Eric. This is going to be one of our key encounters for the team. Although we can't evolve it into a Gengar, it's still going to be pretty useful for us later on. I then head on to the Celadon City Gym, and there's a creepy old man spying through the window. I feel like I've seen this before. Is that Pervy Sage doing some research? Well, what he would be seeing is us absolutely breezing through Erica. She leads Victory Bell, and we land a solid wing attack while she goes for Stun Spore. But no dice, as we had a Cherry Berry up our sleeve. She heals, but we take it out without taking any damage. Tangela is a one-shot, and Vileplume doesn't fare much better. Even with a full paralysis, all it can do is some minimal damage before we take it down with wing attack. That's badge number 4. Now a big chunk of the story opens up. We have Silphco and 2 gyms to challenge next. We head down to Fuchsia and back up to Celadon to train our team up a bit. Particularly the 2 most important members for the next 2 gyms, Beedrill and Haunter. We head into Silphco and I easily navigate all those warps. Our rival Cure is surprisingly not too much trouble. Sussery continues to show it's the superior winged Pokemon taking down Pidgeot, and then OHKOing Execute. Now, a bit of a teaser for our next gym, as our supercharged Gloxinia one-shots Alakazam. Well, I mean, technically it was 2 hits, but it was only 1 move, so I'm going to count it as a one-shot. Charizard is up, and I taught Rock Slide to Sashomaru from Rock Tunnel so that we could deal with it a bit easier. And that it does, OHKOing it easily. Finally, Gyarados goes down to Naraku's Sleep Powder, Leech Seed, and Razor Leaf combo. Giovanni is pretty easy. His first 2 Pokemon are one-shot with Razor Leaf. His Kangaskhan puts up a little bit more of a fight, getting in a couple of hits against Nidoking, but 2 Brick Breaks are enough to clinch a convincing win. Now it's time for Sabrina. Our entire team is weak to her Psychic types, so this is where Gloxinia gets to shine. After some specific EV training, which is something that I haven't really done before, hopefully it will be fast enough to outspeed and finish her off before we get absolutely destroyed by a Psychic. We get through our first 2 Pokemon, and now for the test. Alakazam. I go for Twin Needle, and we do outspeed, which allows us to take it down. Her Venomoth is then no problem for Golbat, and that's another badge for us. Koga is up next, and it's time to find out who the real poison specialist is here. We lead Haunter, who one-shots his Coughing. Muck is next, and we don't OHKO it as it uses Minimize. Luckily, we hit through on the next turn to take it out. Another Coughing, but it goes down just as easily as the first. Last is his Wheezing. We use Psychic, and it leaves him with a sliver of health, and he hits us with a Smoke Screen. I decide to go for a Confuse Ray and Curse just in case we miss our last PP of Psychic, but it doesn't matter with us knocking it out. 6 badges down, 2 more to go. The best part about this though is that we can now use Surf, and it's time to get our last few encounters. A Coughing in the small pond in Celadon, a Tentacool in Vermilion, and a Grimer in the Pokemon Mansion. I also need to get the key to Blaine's gym, as apparently it's fine to just have the gym locked to the public. Don't accept any challenges unless you go through this painful process of the mansion to find the key. I don't know how he keeps his job as a gym leader, seriously. But now I understand why he wanted to keep the door locked and not accept any challenges, because he's an absolute easy sweep with our new powerhouse Tentacruel. He does get 1 hit in, but potions can't save him, and we claim our 7th badge. Bill wants to take us on an adventure, but he's right, we are too busy. I actually don't think I knew you could just turn him down and skip the whole Sevi Islands thing. Very nice. It's now time to fight Giovanni for the final time. He's the only thing that stands in our way of claiming the 8th gym badge, and Hanzo absolutely destroys him. It's an even easier victory than what Blaine was, with Surf just sweeping and one-shotting his entire team. And this guy is supposed to be the leader of the biggest criminal organisation in the region, and the 8th gym leader that's supposed to be the toughest? Boy oh boy. The first member of the Elite Four is Lorelei and her ice types. She leads with Dugong, and I go for Naraku. We start off with a Leech Seed while she sets up Hail. A bit of back and forth, but a combination of Razor Leaf and the Seed chip damage is more than enough to take it down. Slowbro comes out and we nearly take it down with a Razor Leaf, but get hit by a Yawn, so I have to switch out. But the AI predicts the switch and goes for another Yawn. It's 3rd time lucky as we switch to Hanzo and finish it off. Cloyster is next, and since it doesn't know any ice moves, we are safe to switch back to Naraku to finish it. Lapras is out, so I decided to set up a Toxic with Hanzo, and some timely switching with Eric allows us to avoid some hits and take it down. The final Pokemon is Jinx, but our Psychic killer Gloxinia is more than a match with Twin Needle. Fighting Trainer Bruno is next. We lead Hanzo and OHKO both his Onix with Surf. Hitmonchan is out, so we switch to Haunter. We barely don't one-shot it with Psychic as we get hit with a Rock Tomb that lowers our speed. He uses a full restore, but that just delays its downfall as we knock it out with 2 more Psychics. Machamp is next, so you guessed it, we go for Psychic. It gets a Scary Face off to lower our speed some more, but that and a Citrus Berry can't save it from Eric. Lastly, it's Hitmonlee, but it doesn't land a hit on us, so that's 2 Elite Four members down. Agatha is up, and it's time for another Poison Showdown. She leads Gengar, and we start with Sasori, who gets a crit and OHKOs it. Haunter is next, and despite some full restore stalling, say that 3 times fast, it goes down without trouble. Another Gengar comes out and it suffers a similar fate to the first. A Citrus Berry actually helps us with no full restore, allowing us to finish it off with a couple of hits. We switch to Sashomaru for the Golbat to use Shockwave. We do get confused and hit ourselves, but we break through it on the next turn to finish it off. Her final Pokemon is Arbok, so we switch to Eric and one-shot it with Psychic to take it down. The final member of the Elite Four is Dragon Trainer Lance. We lead Sashomaru to counter his Gyarados with Shockwave. He gets a Dragon Rage in, but we finish it in 2 turns. Aerodactyl is next, so we switch to Hanzo. He's faster, so he does manage to get a hit in, but we OHKO it with the Surf. The 2 Dragonairs are next, but Hanzo one-shots them both with Ice Beam. Time for his Ace Dragonite. We go for Ice Beam, and we get a crit to one-shot it and beat the Elite Four. I was thrilled to become the champion, but apparently someone already beat us to it. Our rival Cure. Well, here we are. The final battle of the run against our rival Cure. It all comes down to this. Sashomaru keeps the lead as Cure starts with Pidgeot. It takes a while, but we eventually knock it out with a few shockwaves. Alakazam, the poison killer, is out, so it's time for Gloxinia to do its thing one more time. We outspeed and just finish it off with Twin Needle to dodge a major bullet there. Rhydon is up next, and we switch to Naroku, who gets a crit to one-shot it with a Razor Leaf. Nice. His Ace Charizard comes out, so it's over to Hanzo. A crit Aerial Ace causes us a bit of a scare, but some more hindrance than help from one of his Citrus Berries leads to the knockout. His next Pokemon is Exeggutor, so we switch to Sasori. His final Pokemon is Gyarados, so we've got to send out Naroku. You started it all, and now you've got the opportunity to finish it all. We play a bit more strategically with Leech Seed and Sleep Powder, but it's Razor Leaf that finishes it off to take down Cure and win the run. This was a pretty fun run. It was easier than I thought it would be, being a semi-hardcore style Nuzlocke. But that's why we picked Fire Red as well as the Poison type. A lot of counters, a lot of coverage. We did also get pretty lucky with some crits here and there, but definitely not too bad for my first Nuzlocke run. Thank you everyone so much for watching. Let me know what you thought of the run. If you guys have any suggestions on what you would like to see in the future, let me know in the comments below, or you can reach any of the socials linked on the channel. A bit of news for those who are kind enough to still be watching. I recently had our logo redesigned and got some merch on the way, so there'll be some hoodies, tees, polo, and a few other things that you'll be seeing in the future. I'll be testing it all out soon, so make sure you keep an eye on the next few videos and streams, as I might be sporting some new apparel there. Again, thank you everyone for watching, and until next time, see ya!